came on the trip to see Poland, to meet people and to explore my roots.
I came on this trip because I thought it was very important for the younger generation to go to Poland and to see not only the concentration camps but also the lives of the Polish Jewish community before and during and after the war.
My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor and she was in Auschwitz, and she actually lived in Ostrovets, and that's where we stayed. So today I went around to the graveyard of my great-grandfather and found the shop which they used to own.
The first gas experiments were done here in 1941 in gas chambers, and in March 1942 the first mass deportations came to Auschwitz, not to Birkenau yet, but they realized it wasn't big enough, and therefore in July 1942 they started the construction of Birkenau.
Normally what happened, if you look outside, there's a short chimney with a lid on it. The SS man would stand on the top, the gas mask, open the tin and pour the contents in. Immediately after the canister of Zyklon B were opened on the roof, the contents were poured down through the openings in the ceiling, and the openings closed immediately. After about 2 minutes the screams subsided and turned into a moaning sound. The majority inside were already unconscious. The Jewish prison was on the command to open the doors. The corpses, their mouths wide open, leaned on one another and were especially crowded near the door, of course to get away from where the gas was. In deadly fear, everyone had pressed towards the door to try to burst it open.
Just a collection of things which I had from the shoes and the cases and everything else, the hair. I just found that amazing. Obviously there was only a small percentage of the stuff that they sold and passed on and everything else, but just to kind of see it, just kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just kind of makes it, not more realistic, but it makes it almost harder to comprehend how much damage they actually did.
The thing to note about these is this is one tiny percentage of what was actually here in this camp. You know, the Germans had 30 barracks, not quite this size, but not much smaller than this, filled to the brim with these type of things. People would come off onto what was known as the platform there, which is that central area there, and that's where the selection would take place. Then they would either go into the main camp itself, or they would go up this road here. This road here was known as the road to heaven, or various different names. And at the very end of that road, if you look where you can see the trees at the end there, on the left and the right are crematoria 2 and crematoria 3.
Does it feel weird?
Yeah, it does. It does, because I had about half a dozen aunts and uncles who survived this place.
You know, in this particular place, this is where most Jews died in the Holocaust. 1.1 million Jews died in Birkenau, and most of them in these two gas chambers, the ones across the way, and this one over here. And it says, late that night as we relaxed on our bunks, Rucha called to us, wonders of wonders, she exulted, my mind is working, thank God I can think again. And she confided her thoughts. After the degrading work I did today, I pledged that if we survive this hell, I will go to Eretz Yisrael and work there. Do you hear me, you shabby barrack walls of Auschwitz? You wretched wooden bunks, you shadows of human beings, be my witness, all of you. I'll do the hardest, the most tiring work you can name. I'll drain the swamps, build the roads. I'll mix cement in dirty wheelbarrows. I'll carry heavy rocks, lay bricks, build houses. I'll plant trees and grow gardens where Jewish children will play. I'll build a home for my people. We all listened and remembered. Rucha survived, the sole remnant of a large and renowned family. She fulfilled her vow, building a home for her family, sharing in the resurrection of her people's homeland.
Goes my heart to a rock that's hard for me to climb a lonely knee. You and me in the climb alone, lead me. For you have been a refuge for me, a tower of strength in the face of the enemy. I see that you have been a refuge for me, a tower of strength in the face of the enemy. I
learned a lot from being on this trip. I mentioned earlier that my grandmother is a Holocaust survivor, and I'm the first of the children and the grandchildren of any of her descendants to come back to Poland. So it was particularly meaningful for me.
I've made some good bit of bonding while I've been here. I've met lots of new faces and people, and it's been really good to share this experience with all of you.
So much going on, so much to think about, so much to see, and so much just becomes so real when you do something like this, when you see everything, when you know, talking about it, sharing our experiences. Something I would definitely suggest everyone to do, and thank you all for making this the trip it's been. Thank you.